Imagine a man so wealthy, his casual generosity caused a country's economic collapse. This isn't a modern-day billionaire or a medieval king. This is Mansa Musa, the richest man in history. Let's put things into perspective. Today, when we think of the wealthiest individuals, names like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk may spring to mind. With their net worths hovering around the hundreds of billions, they are indeed financial titans of our time. But they would pale in comparison to the wealth of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa, the king of the Mali Empire in the 14th century, possessed a fortune that's simply incomprehensible. Some estimates suggest that his wealth, adjusted for inflation, would be worth over $400 billion today. That's right, $400 billion. That's more than the GDP of some small countries. Mansa Musa's wealth was so immense that it was said to have caused a significant inflation in Egypt when he passed through on his famed pilgrimage to Mecca, generously dispensing gold to the poor and buying extravagant goods. But to truly understand the magnitude of his wealth, we should take a step back and look at the world he lived in. The Mali Empire, lying in West Africa, was a hub of wealth and culture in the 14th century. It was an era when gold was abundant in the region, and Mansa Musa had direct control over its production and trade. His empire stretched over a vast region, including major cities like Timbuktu and Gao, known for their bustling markets and intellectual vibrancy. In an age before the stock market and cryptocurrencies, wealth meant tangible physical assets. And Mansa Musa had plenty of those, primarily in the form of gold, but also in land, livestock, and human resources. His wealth was not just an abstract number, but a visible, tangible reality that shaped the world around him. Now that we've grasped the magnitude of his wealth, let's delve into how Mansa Musa amassed his fortune. The gold-laden path to becoming the richest man in history began with Mansa Musa's ascension to the throne. It was the year 1312 when Mansa Musa, whose name translates to King of Kings, took the reins of the Mali Empire. It was an empire that spanned modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea, teeming with life, culture, and most importantly, gold. Mansa Musa was not born into royalty, but his ties to the royal family were strong. His great-uncle was Sundiata Keita, the founder of the Mali Empire, and his ties to the throne were further cemented through marriage. When the king before him embarked on an expedition and never returned, Mansa Musa was appointed as his deputy, and upon the king's disappearance he assumed the throne. The Mali Empire was not just any state. It was the world's leading producer of gold, which was worth its weight in, well, gold. This gold was not only a symbol of wealth, but it was also a medium of exchange, a source of adornment, and an expression of power. This gold-rich state was the secret behind Mansa Musa's immense wealth. Mansa Musa, with his keen intellect and strategic mind, understood the value of this precious metal. He implemented policies to manage the gold reserves effectively, and under his rule, the production of gold increased exponentially. It was said that the gold nuggets in Mali were as common as stones, and Mansa Musa had control over every single one of them. As his wealth grew, so did his power. Mansa Musa was not just a king, he was a ruler, a lawgiver, a military leader, and a religious authority. He wielded his power with wisdom and justice, and under his rule, the Mali Empire flourished in peace and prosperity. With an empire rich in gold at his feet, Mansa Musa was well on his way to becoming history's wealthiest man. His rise to power was not just about wealth, it was about leadership, strategy, and vision. The tale of Mansa Musa serves as a testament to the potential of human ambition and the power of gold. Mansa Musa didn't just rest on his golden laurels, he expanded his wealth and influence even further. When you're the richest man in the world, what do? For Mansa Musa, the answer was simple: grow richer, become more influential. One of Musa's main strategies was to expand trade routes. The gold mines of Mali were a treasure trove, but Musa knew that wealth was not just about hoarding gold. He understood the importance of trade and commerce. He extended the reach of his empire, establishing new trade routes that stretched across the Sahara, reaching as far as the Middle East and Europe. These routes opened up opportunities for more than just the trade of gold. They facilitated the exchange of ideas, culture, and knowledge, enhancing the richness of his empire in more ways than one. But Musa wasn't just a shrewd businessman, he was a diplomat too. He cultivated relationships with neighboring states, establishing alliances and securing his empire's position on the global stage. His diplomacy wasn't limited to neighboring kingdoms alone. He reached out to distant lands, making Mali known to the world. And then, there were his strategic marriages. These weren't just unions of love or convenience. Each marriage was a calculated move, a way to build alliances, consolidate power, and secure the future of his empire. But perhaps the most famous display of Musa's wealth and influence came when he embarked on his pilgrimage to Mecca. This was no ordinary journey. It was a spectacle of wealth that the world had never seen before. His caravan was said to include tens of thousands of people, including soldiers, heralds, entertainers, merchants, camel drivers, and slaves, along with 100 camels each carrying up to 300 pounds of gold. This ostentatious display of wealth wasn't just about showcasing his riches, it was a strategic move to put Mali on the map, literally and figuratively. Through shrewd diplomacy and strategic trade, Mansa Musa's wealth and influence reached heights unseen before or since. Mansa Musa's wealth didn't just vanish after his death, it left a lasting legacy. Let's delve into the impact of this immense wealth. His fortune was not hoarded, it was invested in a vision that built the foundations of an empire and left a mark on the world that is still visible today. Mansa Musa was a man of faith and learning, and he used his wealth to foster these values in his empire. He commissioned grand mosques and universities, turning his capital, Timbuktu, into a beacon of knowledge and religious devotion. The University of Sankore, established during his reign, became an intellectual hub attracting scholars from far and wide. This institution, built with the gold of Mansa Musa, played a key role in preserving and disseminating knowledge during the Middle Ages. But the influence of Mansa Musa's wealth was not confined to the borders of the Mali Empire. His riches were a catalyst for global trade, drawing merchants and explorers from around the world. The fame of his wealth reached far beyond his realm, sparking interest and intrigue in the distant corners of Europe and the Middle East. This elevated the status of the Mali Empire, placing it firmly on the world map. Mansa Musa's generosity was another aspect of his legacy. His famed pilgrimage to Mecca was not only a religious journey, but a display of his vast wealth and benevolence. The gold he generously distributed along his route had a profound economic impact, causing inflation in regions he passed. His legacy was not just of gold, but of a golden age of prosperity, learning, and influence. His investment in culture, religion, and education, coupled with his fostering of international trade, left an indelible mark on his empire in the world. Mansa Musa's wealth shaped not only his empire but the world, leaving a golden legacy that still echoes today. And so, the tale of the richest man in history is not merely a story of wealth, but of a wealth that shaped history. From his ascension to the throne to his lasting legacy, Mansa Musa's wealth is a tale of gold, power, and influence. This king of the Mali Empire, who ruled in the 14th century, left an indelible mark on the annals of world history. Let's take a moment to journey back through the key points of Mansa Musa's life. His rise to power wasn't a mere stroke of luck, but a testament to his strategic acumen and leadership. The progressive expansion of his wealth and influence was a result of his astute trade policies, resource management, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. He didn't hoard his wealth. He invested in education, infrastructure, and the arts, fostering an era of unprecedented cultural and intellectual growth in Mali. But what can we learn from Mansa Musa's story? The first lesson is the power of investing in people and ideas. Mansa Musa understood that the real wealth of a nation lies in its people and their ability to innovate, create, and grow. His investments in education and culture were not just for his own glory but for the betterment of his people and the generations to follow. The second takeaway is the importance of strategic planning and resource management. Mansa Musa's ability to grow and maintain his wealth was largely due to his understanding of the value of his resources and his ability to strategically leverage them for growth and prosperity. Lastly, Mansa Musa's story teaches us about the lasting power of a legacy. His wealth may have been vast, but it's his influence and impact that truly make him stand out in history. His investments in education and cultural institutions continue to shape Mali and the world long after his reign. In the grand tapestry of history, Mansa Musa emerges as a figure of awe-inspiring wealth, but more importantly, as a leader who understood the true value of investing in his people and his culture. Mansa Musa, a man of gold and power, stands unrivaled as the richest man in history.